of destruction, of insatiable bloodlust. We are his savagery incarnate, the epitome of brutality, rewarded for our ferocity.
Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, joined of course as always by
Dave from the Golden Chin. Howdy folks.
So today we are going to be playing another battle report for you guys. This time we have a kind of a cool, interesting mission to play, which once again, the end of it will determine the introduction of one of the new Earth forces to the system.
Yep.
We're not going to tell you too much about that until the end of the video, so you'll have to stick around and find out how it all turns out and what that means. But let's just say we are quite excited to tell the story.
See what army this guy has to paint up next.
Yeah. Before we get started, I just want to thank two companies. First of all, thank you GameMat.eu for sending out the mat and scenery that we are going to be playing on today. And a big thank you to Games Workshop for sending us out an early copy of the Codex Chaos Demons to have a play around with and show you guys today. So that should be really fun. So thank you both of those people for supporting us in our crazy endeavor to make some games.
Thank you very much.
So on today's game, I will be taking command once again of the Space Marines. We've only seen them in one game before, didn't we?
Yeah, it didn't go so well for you last time.
No, it never does when I'm playing somehow. So I'm ready to redeem myself and hopefully have my Executioner's chapter of Space Marines ready to rock and roll and play some like sneaky tactics and stuff to maybe get a handle on your gribbly demons.
Yep.
And
So
you're playing the...
I'm taking control once again of the Night Lords. Now, after the last couple of games, obviously the Night Lords have had a bit of a run of bad luck. So some of the faction it essentially is splintered. So we've seen the Atramentor and the Chosen in the last games have thrown their lot in with the Iron Warriors. But the Master of Possessions, who ran with the Night Lords Warband, has kind of decided that he doesn't truck with that. He wants to branch out on his own and has gone seeking help from a darker set of powers. Which is where, as you can see now, he has managed to find one of the old, lost, reclaimed webway gates, has corrupted it for his own nefarious purposes, and has used it to strike up a bargain with the powers of the warp, sealing a pact of blood with none other than Skulltaker and a small warband he has brought forth onto MH365.
So of course it is my job to shut down this webway gate and stop the onpour of demons onto the planet before it becomes a serious threat. Okay, as I've one roll off to go first, I'm now going to have my first turn. I've set up my Space Marines as kind of like a little pincer maneuver. I've got one of the impulsors with 5 assault intercests over here. I've got 5 standard intercests over here, and my captain, the big man with his Gravis armor, is also over on this side. To balance that off, I have my second impulsor also with 5 assault intercessors in it. I have 3 of the Eliminators, 5 Reavers, and my favorite, the Redemptor Dreadnought. So they're going to come in and try and deal with the Master of Possessions and his crazy pacts with the demons. Basically my essential goal for this is to destroy the Master of Possessions, slay him, which should, stop the ritual and stop the webway gate being corrupted and spilling more demons onto MH365. So that would be my overall objective. Other than that, I just have to clear my way to him. So let's see if I can manage it. So I'm going to go into my movement phase. Okay, so I'm going to start off my shooting phase with my impulsors, my pair of impulsors. So obviously this one is iron held out of its mind. We're all stubbers, so I'm going to fire off a lot of shots with that. We have made it a house rule that of course the Master of Possessions is protected, whether it be force field or warp magic or whatever thing he's using to protect himself from just getting sniped turn 1, which we think would be a very lame end to the game. So obviously we want to take him down in close quarters or at least very close shooting. So if it's shooting, he can't be targeted unless we're in 8 inches of him, and then obviously in combat he'll get punched around. So hopefully my Chapter Master in Gravis armor with his gauntlet will get his big meaty fists around him and crush him to death. Let's hope.
I'd rather not, but
Yeah. For now though, we are going to open fire with the impulsors. I'm going to start with the stubbers. So we're going to start with the Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, which is just 4 shots, hitting on 3s, 2 misses, strength 4, aiming for the Plague Bearers, trying to thin down those numbers.
which I believe are toughness 4.
Yeah, so 4s. So 1 wound. It does not have, it does have 1 minus AP, but only 1 damage.
Okay, so the way demon saves work now is we've basically got a split type of save. So at range, I just have a 5-up invulnerable save, which of course I fail, but Plague Bearers are now 2 wounds, so only 1 takes a wound to begin with.
That is terrifying. Next, we're going to move over to the Sky Talon array, which is basically the larger heavy stubber on the roof, which is basically the same profile, except it is 8 shots. So, miss with 3, 4 is to wound demons. So we're going to have 3 more wounds on those plague bearers.
So 3 more wounds, 3 more saves. Unfortunately not enough, so that means that I have lost 2 plague bearers to begin with.
I shall take that. And then lastly, but by no means leastly, we are going to move over to the Storm Bolters. And I do believe they are equipped with a pair of Storm Bolters each. 2 Storm Bolters. So that means that there's 4 shots, but they're in rapid fire range. So 8 shots. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 4s. That wasn't so good. So 1 wound there, and that does not have any AP or anything. So you each get your 5-up save.
Indeed we do, and of course I still managed to fail that as well.
So we're going to jump over to the second impulsor, and after Dave quickly checked the rules, he realised that plague bearers are in fact toughness 5 with 2 wounds now. So, yikes. So let's see what I can do with stubbers against that.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
Well, that's okay. 5s. 1 wound.
5-up save. No. So this unit takes a wound.
And then the missile array. So I'm going to go for the D3 strength 7 shots. So 1 shot. It is blast. No, it's not. No, it's the grenade launcher. That's like so 1 shot. 3s to hit. No. So Storm Bolters. I get 8 shots. I'm sure I can take down demons. Stop panicking. There we go. Look at all these wounds. Wait and you see. 3 wounds.
Why am I driving closer to them? What am I doing? 2 saves. So I only lose 1 plague bearer.
So an impulsor with 3 different sets of weapons all fire on a demon unit and kill 1 plague bearer.
Probably already dead as well, because you know he was a plague bearer. So.
Rot-row. Okay, it's time for my eliminators to come in and do their work with their beautiful bolt sniper rifles. I'm going to go for the Hyper Fang rounds. They're heavy D3, strength 5 blast. So blast shooting at these Nurgle Daemons means I'll get 3 shots apiece. So 9 shots, and they're of course snipers, so they're hitting on 2s. And I rolled 3 1s. And then these are strength 5, so that means they're of course 4s to wound demons. Okay, I managed to get 4 beautiful wounds off, which of course should be 4 dead plague bearers, or only 1 dead plague bearer.
Indeed. I will. Yeah, that's only 1 dead plague bearer and 1 on a wound.
Little does he know, he just took out the champion.
Swap that back out there. That's alright. That's alright.
So, time to open up with the Redemptive Dreadnought. The Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, which may be the coolest named weapon in 40k, is also going to spool up to full speed and then try and blitz through some more of these plague bearers. It is going to hit on 3s. Take out these misses. And the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon is strength 6, so these will wound on 3s. Damn it. 4 more wounds on plague bearers, and then we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 more shots from the other Onslaught Cannon, not a heavy one, normal one. This is only strength 5, so it wounds on 4s. And of course does the same amount of damage as the bigger, stronger gun somehow. So 8 wounds on plague bearers. I'm confident that with some Dave dice here, you're going to lose some plague bearers and going to thin the numbers down to that master possession. You got this. Roll not good.
I'll see what I can do.
3 passed.
Passed 3, and that is 1, 2, 3 dead with the wound that was already there, so that is another 3 plague bearers dropped, this time remembering not to kill the important ones.
So let's see, an Eliminator Squad, an Impulsor, and a Redemptor Dreadnought killed 5 plague bearers.
I'm feeling good about my chances, guys.
Games Workshop, why did you send me that book? So the 5 bolt rifles over here are going to target this squad of Nurgle Daemons and see if I can take any more of them down. So 5s to wound, always not to hear, so 1 wound.
I mean, potentially it could drop 1 given I've already lost a wound there.
Yeah,
there it is. And 1 more plague bearer is taken out.
And that brings my shooting phase to a close. I have no assaults to do on turn 1. So that unfortunately for me means that it's going to go over to Demon turn 1.
So Demon turn 1, so we weathered the first round of incoming Space Marine fire pretty well. The Demons are proving to be that little bit tougher than I remember them being, so I'm absolutely okay with that. So what I'm going to do now is send some of the Demons out to try and tie up the Space Marines to keep them back from the portal so that the Master of Possession can continue to strengthen his link with the opening warp gate. So I'm going to send the Plague Bearers off to deal with the incoming Space Marines there, and have the Bloodletters probably run along and do the same there. And over here I'm going to flank these Plague Bearers around, send them on there, and then I may have a sneaky little surprise to drop in to pay the Eliminators a nice little visit.
I don't like the sound of that.
So, movement phase all done, so the Plague Bearers have advanced up to try and hold the Imperials away from the Warpstone Gate, whereas on the far side we've got the Forces of Khorne have charged forwards to engage the Commander and his bodyguard unit in one-to-one combat. Skulltaker gesturing with the Slayer of Kings, spotting for the next skull to add to the throne. Whereas over here, the Eliminators have a nice little friendly surprise that have decided they want to come and play. So rolling forward, the Nurglings have appeared at the corner of the board, and on the far flank, the Blotflies have flown down from the noxious atmosphere of MH365 and ready to unleash the Death's Head grenades on the upcoming Reaver squad. So we're going to go straight into our shooting phase, and I'm going to start by opening up with the Plague Drones, lobbing these grenades into the Reavers. So the Death's Heads thrown from the Plague Drones are D3 shots apiece. So we're firing 3D3. So 3, 6, 7 shots from the Plague Drones. It's not a bad opening volley. So these are hitting on 4s and wounding on 4s. So I managed to hit with 5 of the shots and wounding 3 of the Reavers. These are at -1 and 1 damage apiece.
Oh no. To take my 3 armor saves, usually I have -1, but I have the beautiful new Space Marine armor. What's that rule called again?
Armor of Contempt,
Armor of Contempt, so I'm straight up 3 up. So, of course, the Reavers do their job, stay alive, ready to do some terror tactics in the next turn.
So now rolling onto my assault phase, and plan is
everything.
Yeah, everything. Very straightforward plan. So I'm going to start off with the Nurglings in the corner. So because I have to deploy 9 inches away, it's going to be a 9-inch charge to get into the Eliminators. And wouldn't you know, that's exactly what we rolled. That's a good start. I like this.
This is not a good start. We don't like this. Hyperfang rounds. Yeah, I got 1 round of shooting off with them before this happened. So
it's time for the smug face.
yeah.
Whereas over here, we're going to see if the Plague Drones can make it in. So Plague Drones, unfortunately, double 1, they're not going anywhere. And the 5 remaining Nurgles...
Even that first dice will get you in wherever you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have them charge into the Reavers and try and hold them in place. So they pile in here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. The smell is unbearable.
You shouldn't have had beans last night for dinner then, should you?
I was playing in character.
Oh,
I'm playing for theme, you know? I mean, there's a reason I don't play Khorne in character.
Oh no, not after last time.
So we'll see if the Plague Bearers on the right hand side there can make it into the Impulsor, which they do. So they're going to charge in there, holding the vehicle in place. The Bloodletters are going to issue a challenge to the Intercessors and see if they can make the charge. Unfortunately, 4 inches, nowhere near enough. And I'm pretty sure that Skulltaker... I'm going to chance it just for the sheer laugh of it. I'm going to see if Skulltaker
11-inch
can
charge.
make an 11-inch charge into the boss. No, unfortunately, not meant to be.
Skulltaker's afraid of it, right?
No, he's just biding his time. He's setting the scene. He wants the audience. He wants the view. He wants the views. You know.
Are you not entertained?
Comment, like, and subscribe to get the jewel. Skulltaker going.
Nice, I like that. Yeah, listen to the man.
So starting off with the Plague Bearers piling into the Reavers and taking massive arcing swings with their Plague Swords. Plague Bearers actually do hit a bit harder than I expected. So each of them are making 2 attacks apiece, hitting on 4s. but any 6s are automatic wounds. So straight away, that is 3 wounds at -2 to the Reavers.
That's pretty grim.
That is pretty grim. Now, the remaining hits weren't quite as good, but we do still manage to inflict another wound. So then there's 4 wounds at -2 and 1 damage apiece to the Reavers.
So with my armor, that goes down to being -1, so I get 4 up saves from these. I failed 3 of them and only passed 1, so one guy goes down to a wound, and unfortunately one of the Reavers gets torn down and is now killed.
So now the Nurglings rolling and gambling forward into combat, climbing up onto the shoulders of the Eliminators and asking, hey, can we play, can we play, can we play? Pile in and lashing out with their needly teeth and claws. So again, the Nurglings do get that same Nurgle rule where any 6s are automatic wounds. So straight away, that's 4 automatic wounds on the Eliminators. And taking away the 1s and 2s, that's actually a pretty good roll for the Nurglings.
The Nurglings hit on 3s? Oh my god.
The Nurglings hit on 4s. And wounding on 5s because of the toughness.
2 wounds, so 6 wounds through from Nurglings.
Yep.
Ugh. Do they have minuses?
No minuses.
Power armor. Oh god. So I've taken 3 wounds. I believe the Eliminators are still only 2 wounds apiece. So that means one of them goes onto a wound and one of the Eliminators has been destroyed by bloody Nurglings.
I'd just like to also point out that the Iron Warriors, the last time we played, couldn't touch the Eliminators, whereas 3 balls of rolling, gambling Nurglings have managed to already take one of them down. Last round of combat, so we've got the Plague Bearers now trying to rust their way through the outside of the Impulsor. So hopefully I can rust through it a little bit quicker with the aid of Nurgle's gift. So swinging out with their attacks. Again, 6s are automatic wounds. It's a little bit like that old Imperial Guard rule you were so fond of. I do quite like that one now.
That literally popped into my head a few, like 5 minutes ago. I was like, I'm not going to make a smart comment here because...
now their strength 4 and the toughness of the vehicle is
7.
7, so it's going to be 5s to wound it now. So that's an additional wound. So that is 4 wounds on the Impulsor.
And do they have the same rule, Space Marine rule, -1 to armor?
They do indeed. So
that's
-1 instead of -2.
So they have 3 up saves, so it goes to a 4 up. So I passed 3 of the saves, take 1 wound, which brings me down to 10 wounds.
So not so much rusting through the armor as just, peeling some of the paint off it.
Not even really that, to be honest. I mean, some angry spacemen are going to jump out the next time and jump up and down on top of you, so...
Yeah, I didn't really think this one through.
No.
But at the end of that, that brings my turn to a close. Because, you don't need to turn around and swing your swords back at me. We can just move on to your turn now if you like.
So it's time for my Reavers to strike back. They actually have 3 attacks apiece. 2 attacks profile and 1 for their combat knives.
Ew.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And then I believe the sergeant has an extra one. So boatload of strikes hitting on 3s because they're Space Marines and they kind of know what they're doing. I think I accidentally took the wrong dice. And then these are strength 4 and your toughness 5. So unfortunately, it's 5s to hurt you. So 2 wounds on your Plague Bearers. Okay. Let's hopefully take another one down.
So because we are demons, our save is a little bit better in combat. So we actually get a 4-up save in combat. So one guy takes a wound, and that is it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't do as much as I thought I was going to do with my combat. Okay, my turn 2. Time to try and clear some of these demons who have rushed out of the center of the board and have assaulted some of my units. Try and clear them off. It is now becoming apparent to me that fighting these demons in close combat is probably a bad idea. But unfortunately, my Space Marine army actually has quite a lot of combat units with 2 units of Assault Intercessors and a unit of Reavers. So they're going to have to get the grips of them anyway, and hopefully I can tear some of them down. So I'm going to pull some things out of combat, get some things out of the vehicles, and then I'll be back to you guys for the shooting phase. Okay, so I have moved some bits and pieces around. I have disembarked Assault Intercessors all over the place to start assaulting some demons. These guys are going to try and be brave and actually assault the center of the board and try and fight their way into the Master of Possessions. Whether that's going to be possible or not, I'm not really sure. They've got a Redemptor Dreadnought coming in as backup, but if he makes it there or not, I'm not sure. There's still demons everywhere. Most important thing is my chapter master is being extremely brave, and he is going to try and take on Skull Taker one-on-one. Some might call that a suicide mission. I may be one of those people, but
I just got a good TV.
oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. I've also brought in my units of reserve, so they are ready with their accelerated auto cannons, ready to hopefully tear those pesky flies out of the sky, and start to crawl back some wounds on this goddamn board.
What about those snipers? What are they going to be doing this game?
Crying mostly, I think. Crying, yeah.
They look like they're having a great time over there. Well,
No.
the Nurglings are anyway.
Swear to God. So I'm going to start by trying to tear some wounds out of the demon unit here with all of the weapons on top of this. In fact, both autocannons and all of the heavy stubbers all hit on the same, all wound on the same, and obviously the demons they don't really care about the damage or the armor, so I can fire all these dice together. So it's going to be 3s to hit. I'll take that. And because demons are really tough now, especially the plague variety, it's going to be 5s to wound. So I managed to scrape only 3 wounds. So these Nurgle guys are pretty resilient now.
Indeed. So we will clarify, I did make a mistake the last time I was rolling demonic instability saves, or the demonic invulnerability saves rather. The demons get a better save at range than they do at combat, because it's easier to banish them in hand to hand than it is with a gun. So these guys get a 4-up save, which of course I still managed to fail 2 of, which means that another plague bearer is removed from the battle.
Another one bites the dust. So the squad of intercessors is going to rapid fire their bolt guns into the bloodletters. Now bloodletters are much more dangerous in close combat and not as resilient as plague bearers. So hopefully I can do some damage here and remove a couple of these guys. So 3s to hit, and they are going to be 4s to wound because you're toughness 4. So I managed 3 wounds, and I think you even less of a save, do you, or do you still have a 4-up save?
Save is the same, so a 4-up save at range. And I managed to fail all 3, so that means these guys are only 1 wound apiece.
Yep.
So 3 bloodletters are taken straight out.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
You gonna fight them now?
No. So the assault intercessors are now going to try and clear some of the master possession's bodyguard off of him. So they're going to fire their bolt pistols first. All managing to find their mark. That was good. And 2 wounds. So 2 saves on your beautiful Chaos Space Marines.
So both of which managed to save.
Of course it is. And then we're going to jump up to the impulsor to fire off its thing. We're going to go the same again as the last one. So the 8 shots from the storm bolters and the 4 shots from the stubber on top are all the same. So 3s and then 4s to wound. So that brings it 5 wounds up on those guys.
So 5 saves on the Legionnaires. And God bless power armor, only one of them takes a wound. And thank God for that extra save.
And then last but by no means least for this squad, the missile majiggery-do. So D3 shots from the missiles on top. Once again be a 1. It hits. It does indeed wound. This is quite bad. It's -1 to damage, so it's 4-up save for you. If you fail it, you lose Legionnaire.
So -1.
Yep.
So
no,
I guess to ignore that because of the save.
you don't
and
care.
managed to save it. Oh, good.
Okay, so the Redemptor Dreadnought now is going to cycle up its Gatling cannons and open fire and try and thin out the numbers of these plague bearers a little bit. So the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon will be 3s to hit, and it will be 3s to wound because this is strength 6. So that is 6 wounds caused to those demons from that, and then of course the standard Gatling cannon as well. This is basically the same gun except it's just a little bit less strength, so it will be 4s to wound the demons. So an extra 2 wounds. So in total I think I gave you 5 wounds, was it?
So you gave me 6 in the last one and 2 from that, so that is 8 wounds in total on the demons. So 8 4-up saves. So managed to fail 1, 2, 3 dead plague bearers from that round of shooting.
I shall take that. Okay, time for the suppressor squad to open up with their accelerator autocannons and try and tear down some of these Nurgle flies. So 3 shots apiece, hitting on 3s. Strength 7 against your toughness of 6, so 3s again. So that is 5 wounds caused on you. Obviously you don't care about any minuses, but it is 2 damage apiece.
Okay.
So let's see how many of these you can save.
So 5 saves, 4 up. So I
you
managed to save
failed
3.
3, so you get 6 wounds.
Okay, so 6 wounds, and the drones themselves have 5 wounds apiece. So one of the drones is taken out of the fight. We'll take off the normal chappie to begin with.
Okay, it is time now to try and move over and bring some of these pesky things down in close combat. So Captain Belloc, not one to shy away from a challenge, has screamed, roared, and gotten the attention of Skulltaker. He will now attempt to charge in, and with a 6 there will be absolutely no problem making that distance, and he's going to move in.
I'm in danger!
As you can see, Skulltaker already took a wound. That was from the gauntlet firing off a couple of bolt rounds on the way in, and he did actually manage to score a wound. And the assault intercessors over here are also going to try and assault the bodyguard of the Lord of Possession. They get a 9, so these guys are also going to bellow charge in, try and thin the line, thin the ranks. So if these guys can get rid of the Chaos Marines and he can fight his way through the Blood Skulltaker, then perhaps Captain Belloc can get to the Master of Possessions and finish this game off quick. Okay, so I'm going to begin the assault phase by trying to thin out the bodyguard. I'm going to save the Belloc and Skulltaker fight till the very end because I think that's the coolest way to do it. So these 5 assault intercessors are going to swing their chain blades and swing the butts of their pistols in and try and take down some of these Chaos Legionnaires. So it is 3s to hit. That's a 3 that I just took out of that pile for some reason. And then it is 4s to wound these gnarly Marines. Ooh, that was really good.
That was very good indeed.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9 wounds caused. Obviously I do -1, but your legionary armor ignores that. So it's going to be straight up 3 up saves for your Night Lords.
Let's see how some old school power armor holds up against Primaris attacks.
Pretty well, to be fair.
Yeah. So we only lose a single Marine, it would seem.
So it would seem.
So one guy was on 1 wound, so he's taken out. And then that wound passes over to the next in the squad.
So the second unit of assault intercessors is going to try and take out some of these Nurgle Daemons. This is going to be 5s to wound because they're just grotesque and bulky and they don't like to die apparently. But I did pretty good for these wounds on that one, to be fair. So I'm going to hand you 7 saves, and this is where your demonic save is now 5 up.
That is correct. Because we checked the rules.
Turns out when you check rules, they're usually something different than what we said.
Yeah, normally is the way. So 7 saves. So unfortunately,
5
managed
failed.
to fail 5, which means 2 plague bearers are pulled down, and another one starts leaking pus from some grievous wounds. So bloop and bloop.
I like that weird demon leaving the world is bloop. Okay, Captain Belloc is about to absolutely obliterate the beautiful Skulltaker and remove him from the field of battle. So I'm going to make so many attacks with my Power Fist and then a couple of extra attacks with the Teeth of Terra, all of which should accumulate in a nice plop sound as you remove your demon. Bloop, bloop, your bloop sound. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to start with my 6 Power Fist attacks. So these would normally be hitting on 2s, but hitting on 3s because you get -1 with the fists. So 5 hits. They are ×2 strength, so they are strength 8. So 2s or 3s?
3s, he has to
3.
6.
So 4 of those go through. Obviously none of the saves or any of that jazz matter because you're demons.
Indeed, so 4 up saves, of which he passes 3.
So 1 fails, which causes 2 wounds.
So he is down to 2.
And then he'll make 3 attacks with his Teeth of Terra, which will wound on, or will hit on 2s. So all of them hit. It adds +1 strength to him. So you've got a strength 5, and you are toughness.
Toughness 6.
Oh, so it's 5s to wound. Ooh, 1 wound. So if you fail this save, it does 2 damage and will slay you. If not, then you're...
What was that about you destroying...
Oh, your demon
Skulltaker?
save is 5 up in combat.
Some of them are, but for Skulltaker, it's 4 across the board.
So remember when I said I shouldn't, he was going to kill you.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
Try and take a couple more plague bears down. Requiring 5s to... 5s to wound. Oh, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
So 6 wounds on your plague bearers.
Okay.
Hopefully this will take down a couple more of them, so I'll feel a little bit more comfortable before those flies come in.
So 6 wounds at 5 up saves.
3 dead plague bearers.
3 removed. So 1, 2, and the musician is gone, leaving just 2 remaining.
So we were just quickly going through some of the combats that didn't need to be on camera. So the Nurglings fighting the Eliminators, for instance. He wounded on that. I rolled that, and unfortunately I lost another Eliminator. I did not think that was going to happen, so just to keep you guys up to date. So Dave just rolled his hits with his 2 remaining plague bearers. Got 3 automatic wounds.
And 2 hits and another wound. So that's not so bad going from the plague bearers at -2 to their save. So it goes to -1 because of your armor. That's another dead reaver there, Andy.
So he's going to come in with his 4 remaining plague bearers into this assault intercessor unit and see what he's done.
So just move this out of the way. So again, 2 automatic wounds on the assault intercessors, and of those remaining 3 hits, or 4 hits rather, that's an additional 2 wounds. So 4 wounds in total on the intercessors.
And once again, that's a failed one because you -2. So one of these guys goes down to a wound. So I'll take that, not too shabby.
Not too bad. So now the Night Lord's bodyguard squad step forward and get ready to return blows against the assault intercessors. So start off with the 3 remaining legionaries, drawing their chain blades and lashing about. They are hitting on 3s, so removing the 1s and 2s. Unfortunately, those 6s don't apply for me getting additional hits or additional attacks this time round because we're using the demons, so these guys are allied in. But they do still manage to inflict 3 wounds on the assault intercessor squad.
For which I will take some saves, and I don't care.
And then
What else you got?
champion wielding a giant big heavy chainsword. How about that?
Damn it. Okay.
So he steps up with the heavy chain axe and makes 5 attacks. So he's hitting at -1 because of the weight of the weapon, so he only manages it twice. But this is +4 to his strength, so brings him up to a strength of 7, and is -4 and 2 damage apiece.
Wait a minute. How is he? If he's +4, then it's strength 8.
Yeah, even better math. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Well, I was like, why are your spacemen is only strength 3, basically?
So he only manages to inflict 1 wound, but that's at -4, which goes to -3, and 2 damage apiece from that blow.
So 6 up save or a guy dies. Damn it. Yeah, he's dead. Is that your legionaries finished fighting?
That is all my legionaries finished fighting.
So are you telling me we're down to the Can Skull Taker behead Captain Belloc fight?
We are down to the most important fight of them all, yes.
Now that I made loads of smart ass comments about me killing you and now you gonna kill me back kind of thing?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I'm not going to say anything about what he's going to do. I'm just going to say, here are his abilities.
Oh,
so,
no.
Skull Taker gets 6 attacks with the Slayer Sword.
That sword sounds menacing.
It is. So he hits on 2s, and he can re-roll the hit and wound rolls because he enjoys fighting characters. So hitting on 2s, all of the attacks managing to find their mark. So his strength is 6, so he's going to be wounding you on 3s with a reroll. So thankfully for the reroll, it's a little bit better. So he managed to wound you 5 times. The attacks are -3 AP and 3 damage apiece.
So I'm going to take these 5 saves on my 4-up invulnerable save because I'm a...
Funny you should say that. The Slayer of Kings doesn't truck with any of that invulnerable save stuff.
Fugazi, Fugazi, it's a Wazi, it's a Woozy, it's a fairy dust.
Oh no. So 5 saves and minus what?
5 saves at -3, so 5 saves at -2 in this case, and 3 damage apiece.
So 5 up saves, and if I fail 2 of them, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't go according to plan.
Skulls for the Skull Throne.
Space Marine turn 2 comes to a close. I have no real attrition tests to take. I don't think so anyway. The turn was going so well. I was slaying demons left and right. Space Marines were coming in from reserve or bailing out of beautiful tanks to get to grips with and engage the enemy. Then Skull Taker beheaded my captain without really much ease. So yeah, this turn feels a little bit mixed bag. I'm not sure how I feel. Demon turn 2 now, and I have a feeling I'll lose some Marines this turn.
Pretty happy with how the last turn went, particularly delivering the final coup de grace to Captain Belloc and finally putting him in the ground where he belongs. So for this turn, it's going to be just hopefully get Skull Taker stuck into a few more combats and hopefully keep reaping those skulls for the Skull Throne. The only thing I haven't done up to this point is, now that the warpstorm is well and truly in effect, we start to use the warpstorm rule, which is brought in with the new codex. So I roll 8 dice, and for every 4 more I roll, I get a warp charge point that I can use on some of the cool abilities like resurrecting fallen demons or giving my guys bonuses to hit. So I'm going to roll my 8 dice and see how many warp charge points I get for that.
All of them. Absolutely all of them.
Jesus, I'll take that. Chaos approves. I guess Corn really doesn't mind where the blood flows as long as it flows. So with that, I'm going to immediately spend 5 of those warp charge points for Dark Invigoration, which allows me to heal up to D3 wounds to each of my units of demons on the board.
Ouchies.
So first off, for Skull Taker, because I don't like him only being on 2 wounds, he's going to heal an additional 2 and go back up to 4. And then I can roll a D3 for each of the remaining units and return models up to that value of wounds rolled. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to jump straight into my movement phase, and then we shall jump back in the shooting phase. Okay, so managed to reinforce my unit of Bloodletters, so they're back up to full strength, and they take no time wasted by jumping across the battlefield to get to grips with the intercessors. Skull Taker has now set his sights on the next skull he wants to wrench from the sarcophagus of the Dreadnought to add to his pile, whereas the Nurgle or Plague Bearers are going to move over, try and reinforce the Sorcerer, keep him in the fight, and over here the Plague Drones are sweeping in to try and deal with the Reavers. But before all that starts, I'm going to move on to my Psychic phase, and the Master of Possessions is going to do what he does best and try and possess something. So he's going to target the unit of intercessors that is currently in combat with his bodyguard unit. So it's a warp charge value of 6. So he does manage to manifest it. So it's cast on an 8. So I pick this squad here and I roll a dice, adding 1 to the result. If it's greater than the unit's toughness, 1 model is slain. So 1 model of Andy's choice is slain from that unit.
What a way to go, buddy.
Oh, it gets worse.
What do you mean it gets worse?
Because he possesses them, and as he is dying, he sets about himself, laying into his comrades, and inflicting D3 mortal wounds on the squad he was part of. So 2 mortal wounds, which kills another 1 of the Space Marines.
They are going to be bickering all the way home.
So that is going to end my Psychic phase. I don't really have any shooting this turn, so we're going to be going straight onto the Charge phase. And let's be honest, the only one that really matters, can Skull Taker get to grips with the Dreadnought? Let's find out. So it's just down to Skull Taker.
Okay, can Skull Taker make the distance?
Let's find out. That is a 10-inch charge. And he only needed 9 inches. More skulls for the Skull Throne.
Why am I the one that's scared? What is going on here? Like that, this should be like a sure thing for me, but I'm not feeling it, guys.
Okay, so we're gonna move right into the combat phase. We're gonna leave the Skull Tiger fight till last, just like last time around. and we're going to start off with the bloodletters. So the squad have piled into the intercessors. There's 10 of them there now, each of them kicking out 2 attacks apiece, and these are going to be hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s thanks to the bloodletter's strength of 5. So I'm going to grab the big handful of dice I'm going to need for this and see if I can put those Hellblades to work. So, they're burning blades. The bloodletters slice and dice their way in. So again, hitting on 3s. No bonuses for rolling 6s from these guys. Not that I think they'll need it, to be quite honest.
No, I wouldn't appear so.
And these are going to be wounding on 3s at -3 to the armor and 2 damage apiece. So these are my Space Marine killers. So, I shouldn't have said that.
I should not have said that.
I should not have said that. However, they do still manage to inflict 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 wounds on the squad of intercessors. So -2 now because of your Space Marine armor.
So I get 5 up saves from this, and everyone I fail is a dead model.
Bingo.
Okay then. Well, there's the squad. Good talk. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rewarded for our ferocity.
We could, actually, maybe we'll roll that off camera because that's realistically going to happen.
We're recording, baby.
Are we recording? Jesus. So just to catch you guys up, so obviously we've seen the bloodletters plow their way through the Marines. There's now just a fine mist left where the intercessors were. The plague bearers have managed to take 1 more Marine down in the far corner, and over here playtime is officially over because the last eliminator has been pulled down by the roiling hordes of plague bearers. Aww, they've nobody to play with anymore. How sad. So now we're going to move on to the fight in the center. So again, I'm going to start off with the plague bearers that have just piled in here. So we've got 8 plague bearers, each with their 2 attacks. So no automatic hits this turn. Not a great roll for the plague bearers for once. But they do manage to wound twice, so that's 2 -1 saves.
Takes a wound, so one of the guys goes down to 1 wound.
So then the Space Marine legionaries there who were in the fight with them, the Night Lords, attempt to capitalize on the little bit of aid they now receive. So again, lashing out with their chain blades, a little bit better. They managed to hit with most of their attacks. Almost knocked over the gate as I did so. And wounding on 4. So 3 wounds at no minuses.
Power armor for the win, and I failed 2 of them, so 1 guy is dead. The sergeant is left standing there on 1 wound.
And the other sergeant eyes him up with his massive brutal chain axe. Manages to hit with 2 of the attacks this time. And wounds with both, so either of these failed saves will see his skull rolling onto the floor. Unfortunately, not this time. Let's see if you're still laughing when Skull Taker rolls his dice. So now we're going to move over to the Plague Drones sweeping into the rear of the Reaver unit. So starting off with the Riders on the back, lashing down with their Plague Swords. So lashing out with 5 attacks in total. So again, with their Plague Swords, the 6s are still automatic wounds. So that is 3 automatic wounds and 2 hits. With an additional 2 wounds added in on top of that at -2. And then the Prehensile Proboscis, the big trunks that the Plague Drones are carrying, make an additional 4 attacks apiece. So that is, again, hitting on 4s. So not so bad at all. And these are going to be wounding on 4s at strength 4. That is an additional 4 wounds at -2. So because of your armor save, all these go to -1. So that should be 9 saves in total at -1.
We got this. We don't got this all that much. So I'm taking 3 more wounds, which means that another 1 has died and 1 is left on a wound.
And then the remaining plague bearers on foot will lash out with their swords and see if they can ping down the last guys. So unfortunately only managing to hit twice and only managing to wound once.
And not managing to kill.
Not enough. Yeah, I was kind of hoping I'd take those out with that combat. So now all hopes kind of lie on Skulltaker taking down the Dreadnought before I get by the big fist.
And feed, and it's got a low feed as well.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that confident right now. Okay, so now all hopes on Skulltaker to see if he can take out the Redemptor Dreadnought. So again, drawing back the Slayer of Kings, we're going to see if he can run through the War Machine. So because it's not a character, I don't get any of my cool bonuses and rerolls to hit or to saves. So this is just going to be down to a pure roll of the dice. So he makes his 6 attacks with the Slayer of Kings, hitting on 2s. So managed to hit with 5 of the attacks. And he's going to be wounding on 5s, unfortunately. So only 1 wound, unfortunately. That's not great. It's at -2 to the Redemptor's save. So it does go through, and it does do 3 points of damage to it.
So he goes from 13 wounds to 10.
Yeah, I kind of thought it might have been a bit better than that, but unfortunately not.
So it's time for my Redemptor to smash you back and see what he can do.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So he hits you on 3s with his 4 attacks. So let's hope for some good rolling. So I'll take 3 hits out of that.
That's pretty good.
That will do. He is strength, I believe it's ×2, of course. So that would mean that I am strength 14.
So I'm toughness 6. So you'd be winning me on the 2s.
2s, you say. So 3 wounds. And you just get your 4 up demon save, don't you? As no.
Indeed. So yeah, 2 of those go through. How much damage a piece?
D3 plus 3. So at a minimum, it's 8 wounds. Okay, so end of demon turn 2. I kind of see now why Khorne hits fairly hard, but can't really take a hit in return. So managed to wipe out obviously the captain last turn and a squad of intercessors with the bloodletters, but Skulltaker got a bit greedy. I say Skulltaker, it wasn't me, it was Skulltaker. He was whispering in my ear, stop talking to me. So unfortunately he got by the Dreadnought, but the Nurgle stuff is kind of holding its own. So turn 3, I just need to get to the end of turn 3, at which point the portal will be stable and self-sustaining. But I don't know how I'm going to slow down the Dreadnought because I don't really have anything to answer for it. And I kind of need to keep the Sorcerer where he is. I can't run away or the portal will destabilize. So I really need to hope that that Dreadnought doesn't come over and squish my little Sorcerer. But I'm not feeling that confident right now. So I'm genuinely staggered by what the Bloodletters did to those Marines in combat.
Yeah.
Like, that was shocking.
Yes, but they're all the way over there. And I kind of need them all the way over here.
Yeah.
And that Dreadnought's getting really, really close. It's like the boulder in Indiana Jones. I just see it rolling down towards me. Like, where do I go? I don't know. So,
where is my fedora?
Where is my fedora? So we're going to move on to Space Marine Executioner turn 3.
So, start of Space Marine turn 3. Obviously we lost Captain Belloc at the end of last turn for me, which was a grievous hit. Fights everywhere are kind of going okay, but I'm slowly being whittled down. There's not a lot on this side of the table left. I mean, there's 4 Marines and a tank. Obviously there's only 2 Reavers left. The Eliminators are gone. The Intercessors in the Assault Intercessors in the middle, I've only got 1 person left. So I'm feeling the strain. So I think I'm going to have to go all in on this turn and try for a cut the head off the snake moment. And we're just going to assault the middle and try and delete of that whole section and try and win the game by capturing the objective, which is to, of course, behead the Master Possession. If I fail to do that, then I think I'm in serious trouble from bloodletters and all sorts. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I've just completed my movement phase, and as you can see, I have accelerated autocannons lined up to take the shot. Redemptor Dreadnought is in the center ready to do it. This guy has fallen back out of the middle of the fight, and we have our 2 impulsors ready to unleash unholy hell to try and thin down the bodyguard unit and the Nurgle Plague Bearers, which will then leave the Redemptor Dreadnought to charge in and try and finish off or start to squish the Master Possession. So Let's get into the shooting phase, and I'm going to waste no time. I'm going to go with the Redemptor Dreadnought and open fire on the Legionnaires. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We're going to start with the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s. So 6 wounds on the Chaos Space Marines, which one of them has already suffered a wound.
Indeed. Any minuses?
The heavy onslaught Gatling cannon does indeed have a -1.
Okay, so
To ignore.
We ignore that, but even just weight of dice alone does manage to pip another one down.
Next is the normal onslaught Gatling cannon, which hits 7 times. Ooh. Wounds on 3s. Ooh, that was really bad. 5 failed wounds and 2 wounds that did go through. So another 2 wounds, which do nothing. The suppressors are also going to fire off into the Chaos Space Marines, hitting on 3s. Oh my god. 5 misses, 4 hits, 3s to wound. Jeebus. 2 wounds go through. These are damage 2, so any fails will kill a Marine.
Not in that case.
But it has not failed just yet. So time to move over to the 2 impulsors. So we're going to fire off all of the autocannons onto, or sorry, the stubbers onto the squad as well. So 4 shots, 4 -1, 4 -1. So these are all the same. So I can basically just fire these all at the same time. So 4 and 8. And the other bullets are the same bolters. So it's 8 shots from that too. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are all of the rounds from this one, firing into the Marines as well. If in doubt, bolt gun rounds. 4 is to wound. Not having the best of luck with wound rolls here. I mean, that's 4 wounds to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 failed wounds.
Okay, so 4 saves. Manages to pass all of them.
And then the from the opposite side, we're going to have 4 from the stubber on top, 8 from the rapid firing storm bolters, and then we'll fire the rockets off the back. So to hit, 4 is to wound, 2, 4, 6 wounds on the Chaos Space Marines.
Okay, so 6 wounds, 6 saves. Ooh, luck seems to have started to run out, so 1 is dropped and 1 is on a wound.
It's looking a little better. And of course the rockets on the back of the impulsor as well will fire off. It is the Bellicatus missile array, so I will go with the heavy D3 shots. I get 2, hitting on 3s. Both of them find their mark, and they are strength 7, so 3s. Both of them wound. They do -1 and 2 damage.
Okay, so managed to save both as I ignore the armor penetration.
To be honest, all of that firepower for 1.5 dead Legionnaires is kind of insane. So it looks like it's going to be all up to the Dreadnought to run into close combat and try and do what he can to tear through, but he's not going to be able to get to the Master Possessions this turn like I prayed. So now we're in real trouble. I kind of rolled the dice on that mad gambit, and now I'm surrounded on all sides by demons.
Yay!
Not yay!
Come and play, come and play.
Okay, so like I said, I wanted to make enough space for my Redemptor Dreadnought to be able to assault the Master Possessions, and now I'm going to have to roll quite high for the charge to get him into a kind of a more comfortable zone where he fits. So let's roll the dice and see what happens. So can I have a bit of luck here, because I didn't have it during the shooting phase. 6. I don't honestly think his base will get past the point of charging. So unfortunately he's just going to come in here and smash into these 2 units, but not going to be able to get to grips with the Master Possession this turn. Wish me luck. The Redemptor Dreadnought is now going to swing his crazy fists and try and clean up the last. So I'm going to have 2 attacks on the Chaos Space Marines and 2 attacks on the Chaos Demons. So on the Marines, one of them does manage to hit. 2s. It does -4. Where the hell is the onslaught Redemptor Fist? -3.
Okay, so does go through, and I'm going to guess that just pulps him.
Well, Pope School Taker, what do you think it's going to do to you?
That's fair.
And the other 2 attacks into demons. 1 hit, 2s. Take your demon save.
Yes, sir. So 2 5-up saves. Fail 1, pass 1. And again, that's going to pulp one of the demons straight out.
Other than that, I'm kind of just got a couple of combats over here. So I get to choose first. So 1, 2, 3, and then the sergeant. Let's see if I can tear some more demons down. 3s to hit. Why couldn't I have any rolls like that during the shooting phase? And 5s to wound. So 1, 2, 3, 3. 3 wounds on the Nurgle Daemons.
Okay. So 3 saves. Again, 5s. So fail 2. So 2 get 1 more goes down, and 1 more is on a wound.
And then I believe you get to choose next combat, so your flies can deal with the Reapers or whatever.
The flies are going to lash out with their plague swords again. So not as good this time. Only 1 managed to hit and 1 wound. But then the proboscis from the flies. So again, hitting on 4s. So 4 hits and wounding on 4s. And an additional 2 wounds. So 3 wounds in total at -1.
So I failed 1 and 1 guy's already taken a wound, so he's removed. So 1 Brave Reaver is left holding his own against the demon horde.
God, it must smell terrible in there.
Yeah.
So last roll of the dice for this particular turn, we've got the remaining Plague Bearers trying to bring down the Redemptor Dreadnought as it smashes into combat. So that is 1 automatic wound, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manages to hit. And then running to wound, these are going to be 5s. And of course no wounds, so only 1 wound on the big stomping Dreadnought.
So he's fine.
Totally fine. And that brings Space Marine turn 3 to a close.
Yes, it does.
Thoughts?
I thought I should have killed more of the Marines and Demons in the center, but the Dreadnought came in on the day and kind of saved the day at the end. He finished off the last of the Chaos Space Marines, took a Demon down, and he is thirstily staring at the Lord of Possessions. So it all comes down to what can make it to the center to stop me in his next turn. Depends how far those Bloodletters can move, or if they're going to try and get into the middle, or whether they're just going to start tearing down the Space Marine pickup trucks. I'm not sure. And if those flies get loose as well, that could be a problem, or even just for blocking maneuvers, for stopping my Dreadnought to get to your possessed. So it's still all to play for. But God, I love Dreadnoughts.
Okay, so Demon turn 3, looking at the board and looking kind of the tactical situation, if you will. Very much worried about keeping my Lord of Possessions alive, because the moment he dies, that is game over, and I've still got 2 more turns I need to get through before that connection to the portal is stable. So I think it is going to be a case of take everything I can and charge it in towards the center. So I'm going to hopefully get my Nurglings to charge forward and tie up the suppressors. I'm going to have the Plague drones disengage from the fight over here and move over to try and get into a blocking position with the Dreadnought. The Plague Bearers will hold where they are and hopefully keep him tied up for the moment, fingers crossed. And the Bloodletters will charge across and hopefully give him some kind of backup, because I think the other Space Marines will have a tough time getting through the Plague Bearers, even though there are only 3 of them left there. So that's going to be my plays. I might be able to get the Bloodletters into combat with the Dreadnought this turn, and maybe that'll be my last kind of throw of the dice to take it down. But I don't know if I'll be able to stop the massive bull in a china shop that is the Redemptor Dreadnought. I think it's literally just a case of trying to pile the bodies on and see how many Plague Bearers it takes to just weigh it down with weight of numbers.
Clog its gears and all of its pistons with
yeah.
gore and yeah.
So we're going to go straight into the movement phase, and we'll be back to you afterwards. Okay, so movement phase is done. The Plague drones have moved in, getting ready to try and tie up the Dreadnought if needs be. The Bloodletters managed a 6 on their run, so they've got up to a more advantageous position, but they won't be obviously able to get into combat this turn. The Nurglings have bimbled out of cover and are getting ready to try and go for a play date with the suppressors. And now all that remains is for the Master of Possessions to try his trick again, and he's going to try and possess the last Intercessor Sergeant and see if we can't get rid of him. So I'm going to try and manifest that warp power. So unfortunately it's cast on a 6, so that is a failed manifestation. He doesn't manage to summon that power. He is going to try and just smite him for the crack. So last power does manage to cast smite, and it does... It wasn't manifested on enough, so it only actually does 1 mortal wound to him.
Oh, okay. So he's down to 1 wound remaining.
And that is going to be the end of my movement phase. I have no shooting phase to do, I have no psychics to do, so it is just down to charges, and the only ones that can charge are the Nurglings at the moment. So I'm going to see if they can get into combat with the suppressors, which they do. So they are going to manage to tie them up, at least for the moment, to keep my commander in the fight. But really, the only fight that matters at the moment is with the Plague Bearers over here, so I'm going to go straight into that and see if I can't pick another couple of wounds off of the Redemptor before it inevitably comes crashing into my Lord of Possessions. So,
let's see what happens.
Wish me luck. Okay, so Plague Bearers lashing out with their Plague Swords. So, again, hitting on 3s, so 2 automatic wounds. And wounding on, hitting on 4s rather. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And 1 additional wound, so 3 wounds on the machine. I'm just trying to pip off at whatever little bits I can.
So you take 2 more wounds off of him, so he's lost 5 wounds. He has 8 left.
Alrighty. Beyond that, there's like the other fights, we'll probably do them off camera because there's not really a lot that's going to happen in them that's going to affect the overall results of the game. It is really down to just what the Redemptor can do. So I think he's going to swing back now and pulp a few of my Plague Bearers in return.
Well, let's hope. So he's got his 4 attacks. They all hit. 2's to wound. 3 wounds. So you still get your crazy demon save.
So 3 5-up saves. So he passes 1, 2 are failed, so 2 get popped.
So 2d3 plus 3. So 3, 5 plus 6, 11 wounds.
Yeah. So 2 get popped.
Yeah. Stupid 40k.
Wishing things were like an Age of Sigmar.
Votan can carry some wounds over, but we better not mention that or the comments will start screaming at us again.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Demon Turn 3 recap. Kind of held our own. The Plague Bearers fighting the Dreadnought passed their leadership test, so they haven't run, thankfully, because I needed that to happen. We've managed to pull down the last of the Reavers over here, and the the Nurglings didn't really manage to do much of anything to the suppressors. And over in the corner here, it is still a case of just handbags and slaps. Nothing is happening, just armor popping off. But I'm feeling a little bit more confident now. I have my unit of 10 Bloodletters back near-ish to the Dreadnought. But it is now Andy's turn 4. So it's now all to play for to see if he can get the Dreadnought or anything into combat with my Lord of Possessions and stop the ritual before it achieves its height. So we'll move on to Space Marine turn 4 and see how that pans out.
Okay, Space Marine turn 4. Once again, we're still bogged down in the center by these pesky Plague Bearers. They're going to be a menace in 40k these days, as they're so hard to get rid of. My 2 Impulsors are going to start off this turn by trying to get rid of the Bloodletters over there. This 1 remaining Sergeant is about the only movement that I have left. He's going to run around and try and poke the Master of Possession in the face with his Power Fist. Wish me luck on that suicide mission. Everything else is either stuck in combat or about to open up on Bloodletters. So let's go straight into shooting. So once again, these are all of the shots from the Impulsor on the right. So it's got Iron Hail Starbird, normal Starbird, and it's got 2 Storm Bolters. All of them are basically the same strength, same AP, same damage. So I can roll them all together. So here we go. 3s.
That's a lot of dice.
Yeah, but that didn't help me last turn.
Doesn't look too bad there at the moment.
No, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. This time it's 4s to wound you because you're not Plague Bearers.
Correct.
And then of course I roll loads of 1s, 2s and 3s. So 2, 4, 6, 8 wounds on the Bloodletters.
Okay.
who have a 4-up save from this, but only one wound.
Indeed.
So we should lose a few here, hopefully.
So 8 wounds. So 8 is Corn's number, right?
Oh no. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly 50%.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bloodletters are removed.
The impulsor next to it will begin to open fire. Same thing, except instead of having the larger stubber on top, it's got the missile pod. So we're going to fire the stubber and the 2 storm bolters first. That was actually really good. 1 miss. 4 is to wound. Well, that was really good. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 wounds.
Yeah. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So 9 4-up saves.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gone.
That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 remaining.
And that will be the missile pod on the back, which will fire its D3 shots. 3, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. 1 wound. Come on, get out of here. Always got to be 1 left, doesn't it?
There can be only one.
Okay, time to see if the Redemptor Dreadnought can unleash its Gatling cannons on the remaining 4 Plague Bearers. So these are going to be -1 because they're in engagement range, so they're going to be 4s to hit. It's pretty good. And these require 3s to hurt you. So that's 5 wounds so far. The 8 normal cannons, once again requiring 4s to hit. And these are going to be 4s to wound, I think. Yeah, so no. And then the missile pods on top. Icarus rocket pod is D3 shots. 2, hitting on 4s. 1 hit. Strength 7, so wounding you on 3s. You have to roll that one separate because that one has 2 damage.
Okay. So the 2 damage save passes.
And then 5 normal.
5 normal saves. So fails 1 of them, and I think 1 of them was already on a wound, so that means that 1 more is taken out of the fight.
Okay, so the brave intercessor, Assault Intercessor Sergeant has charged in and has swung his power fist at the Master of Possessions. Let's see if he can pull it off. 4 is to hit.
Ooh.
2 of them did actually manage to find their mark. 1 did not, requiring 2s to wound. Boom. Oh. 1 goes through and it does -3, so -2 for you.
So it goes from a 3 up to a 5-up save, which he fails.
And does
2 wounds, so brings the Master of Possession down to 3 wounds remaining.
Can the Dreadnought pull it off and take down the last of the Plague Bearers? I doubt it, but let's see anyway. Not a good start. 2s to wound. 3 wounds gone through, 5-up saves. Please fail them all. Boop. 1 more just dies.
1 more just dies.
Would you just go away?
Alright, so now they get to swing back, I suppose. So we'll start with the Plague Bearers, making their 5 attacks in return, because there is still a champion there. So 1 automatic wound on the Dreadnought, 2 hits, and 1 more wound.
He passes them all. Wait, you -2, don't you?
-2.
Yeah,
so
sorry, no, you do take a wound, so I've taken 6 wounds.
Okay. Then the Master of Possession turns around and will attempt to smite the Sergeant. So he gets 5 attacks with his Staff of Possession. So 5 attacks, hitting on 3s. So managing to hit with 3 attacks. And this is going to be -1 AP, which you just ignore, but it is +3 to his strength, so he's going to be strength 7, so he's going to get 3s. So 2 wounds at -1 D3 damage apiece.
Passes both, so he is alive and well.
Totally fine. I kind of needed him to die.
No, he's going to take you out, man.
Oh no.
So that was brought an end to turn 4 of my Space Marine force. It is actually holding out pretty okay. Redemptor Dreadnought is doing work in the middle, slowly but surely churning through the Plague Bearers. The 2 repulsors obviously got rid of the Bloodletters. It brought it down to 1, which of course failed his instability test. The sergeant not only managed to take 2 wounds off the massive possession, he managed to survive the strikes back, so we're doing well there. And then the superfluous fights all around the edges still kind of going on, chipping guys away. We've lost a couple of demons here, another marine, and the Nurglings might be the MVP of the match after they're slowly chomping through their second Space Marine unit of the game. The hell. So,
I mean, Nurglings, Chosen, they're both about the same level of power.
I think they were playing power, right?
Yeah.
No, a squad of 3 Nurglings is 2 power. So you can have 30 bases of them for like 20 power.
Can you paint that up for me for the next game?
Sure. Whatever, anything for you, buddy.
Thanks,
Got
buddy.
you. I'm not playing it though. So now it's time to move on to Demon turn 4, and now the flies are going to come back into the game, which is a little bit worrying, but yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay, so Demon turn 4. My demons are starting to look a little bit thin on the ground. So what I'm going to do this turn is I'm going to send the Plague Drones in to try and further tie up that Dreadnought, because I don't think the Plague Bears would survive another round going toe-to-toe with them. The Plague Bears here are going to charge in, try and hold those suppressors in place, and hopefully help the Nurglings finish off their second course. And I'm hoping that the Master Possessions can bop the Sergeant on the head in close combat, because I'll get to choose who goes first. And other than that, it's just a case of those Nurglings tying up that last squad there. So down to the last throws of the dice. There's only 2 turns remaining. 1 turn for Andy and 2 for me. So maybe we can do it. I don't know. We'll see. So let's see what happens. Okay, so movement done, shooting done. Tried to manifest my psychic powers and whiffed on both of them. So it's just going to be straight down to combat. So we'll start off with over here, the Plague Drones trying to, just by sheer force of their charge, knock the Dreadnought back a few steps. So we'll start off with their Plague Swords lashing out. So again, 5 attacks, 6 is their automatic wounds. So that's 1 automatic wound and 1 hit. And then rolling to wound, an additional wound there. So these are at -2, which goes to -1 because of his armor.
I failed 1 pass 1, so the Dreadnought has now taken 7 wounds.
And then the proboscis of the mounts. So hitting on 4s. So again, only 2 managed to hit. And wounding on 5s. 1 wound. Again at -1 to the Dreadnought save.
So he passes it just fine.
Just about. So next I'm going to go over then. That's all my charges done. So it's just going to be down to if the Master of Possessions can bop the Sergeant on the head. So again, lashing out. A little better. This time he manages to roll. All his attacks manage to hit.
This is a problem.
And wounding with the extra pips of strength to be wounding him on 3s. So wounds him with 4 out of his 5 attacks.
So 4 saves.
They were only minus, but
Does not compute. Does not compute.
now something doesn't add up here. That can't be right. He should be red smear on.
He should be, yeah, but then he's not. And now he's going to punch you in the face with his big power fist.
Do I have the rewind time power?
You're the editor, you can do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, okay. Be right back.
Okay, so the question now is, can the Intercessor Sergeant with his power fist smack the Master Possessions? Well, when he hits with all his power fist attacks, that's and it is 2s. You are only toughness 4, aren't you?
Yeah.
2s. Oh, you just 1 more goes through.
Goes through. He doesn't save it.
So he goes from 3 to 1 bloody wound remaining. If either of those hadn't been a 1, he'd probably be dead right now. Oh,
squeaky bum time.
So yeah.
So yeah, at the end of Demon turn 4, my objective is alive on one wound remaining.
Should I tell him my Redemptor Dreadnought hasn't attacked yet? Yeah? Okay. My Redemptor Dreadnought hasn't attacked yet.
Okay.
Yeah, boy. So these 4 dice are going all on the drone. So, damn it. 2s, 1 wound on the drone.
So 5 up save.
No.
Nope.
D3 plus 3. And 1 drone is...
1 drone goes squoosh.
Get out of here. Okay, that's better. Now you may continue by talking about the end of your turn.
Okay, so as I was saying, objective alive on 1 wound, and I've only 1 drone and 2 plague bearers left to support him. And now it's Andy's turn, so help. Help, Dark Gods, help.
Put it in the comments below if you think that the Dark Gods should help him out here. I don't think so. Okay, start of my turn 5, last turn of the game. All I need to do is to pip 1 wound off the Master of Possession, kill him, end his barbaric ritual, and then maybe reprogram this gate to try and get aid for the Space Marines and Imperial forces on the planet. Maybe Vulcan's still bopping around the webway doing his own thing. Maybe we'll find him in there and he'll help us out. Or Gulliman's kind of pally with the Eldar. Maybe he's got like a little cup on a long string. We can ask for help or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But all we need to do is kill him, stop the demonic incursion, and then the Tech Marines can get to work trying to figure this out. So I'm going to start by straight away going to my shooting phase. My Redemptor Dreadnought is going to try and hose the rest of the demons that are crawling all over him, and leaving the Sergeant open to the last one of them. So wish me luck. Okay, it's in my shooting phase. The Redemptor Dreadnought is going to start hosing the things that are fighting him with his heavy Gatling cannon. Yeah, it's obviously -1 to hit these days, so I'm going to fire all the heavy shots into the drone, see what I can do. So 4 is a hit. That was pretty good. I'm going to take that. I keep saying hitting was pretty good, and then the wounds are absolutely dreadful. You are toughness 5, aren't you?
I am.
Oh, you're toughness 6?
Toughness 6, I believe. Let me just double check that, because that's kind of important.
Yeah, that will actually make a difference as to whether it's 3s or 4s for me to wound.
Okay. Okay, so double checked. Plague drones are actually toughness 6.
So 4 is to wound. And I manages to get 5 wounds through with that. So 5 wounds on them, but obviously you have 5 wounds unless you fail them all.
So 5 4 up saves.
You know 5 up in combat, or are they just better?
They are 4 up in range and 5 up in combat. So that is 1, 2. Yep. So they have failed 3. So he's down to 2 wounds remaining.
Failed 4. Remember, it's 5 up in combat.
But we're not in combat. This is your shooting.
Oh, that's why I'm getting confused. Yes, apologies. Yes, 2 wounds left. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the 8 shots from the other one on the smaller ones. Wowza. So that was no hits whatsoever. And then we'll go on to our D3 missile pod shots. So 1 shot hits on 4s. It does hit. It doesn't wound. So that's the end of the Redemptor. So it's on to the combat phase to see if these lucky heroes can finish off the job. So I'm going to, of course, start with the epic power fist wielding Assault Intercessor Sergeant, trying to take down the last wound off the Master Possession to claim victory and win the day. So let's do this. Requiring 4s to hit. Okay, 2s, wounds. It all comes down to what you save, how your 5 up save to save the day. Yes! Master Possession has been eliminated by nothing but a lowly sergeant. Cancelling the demon incursion, cancelling your birthday party, your bar mitzvah, your Hanukkah. Yeah, it's all gone. You lose. You're out of here. Demons get off MH365. Marines win the day.
Death is my meat, terror my wine. So, The battle will soon be joined.
So that brings us to the end of another fairly action-packed battle report. So first off, thanks everybody for watching. Obviously the result speaks for itself. That one came right down to the wire.
And then the last dice roll.
Literally last dice roll. If just one last dice roll, I would have been able to bring on a whole wave of demons and wipe them out. But c'est la vie. So unfortunately, the Master of Possessions taken down, and another Night Lord's scheme is foiled once again by the force of the Imperium. Night Lords are having no luck on MH365.
Scooby-Doo bad guys at this stage.
So obviously their attempt to summon help from the dark beyond has failed, and they failed to reach through to their dark masters. So what that means for the campaign going forward, you'll just have to keep watching and just see how the story develops now.
We do have indeed plans. We always have plans for both eventualities as to who wins the game, and hopefully that makes it more exciting to kind of watch along with. And like Dave said, this game really did come turn to turn, blow for blow, back and forth. Like, I think for most of the game I thought I was losing, and I think for Dave most of the game he thought he was losing. So neither of us felt like we were winning until the very end.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, then it came down to the brave sergeant who did manage to come in and do his job.
After the captain was slaughtered, somebody needed to take up the mantle of leadership. So
Poor Balak, yeah.
we may see that sergeant returning in a slightly higher capacity in a future game.
Potentially, yeah. So once again, thank you to GameMats.eu for sending out the map and terrain that we played on today. Thank you very much to Games Workshop for sending us out the Demon Codex to use in our battle report today.
Yep.
Very much appreciated. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure that you drop the video a like, ask us any questions, or tell us all the rules that we did wrong in the comments below. We will get back to each and every one of you who isn't rude. And
You do have to qualify that, all right?
Yeah. And if for some strange reason you're not already subscribed to the channel, take 2 seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, and put a smile on our face. So thank you guys so much for watching, and
We'll see you
in the next one.